All right, traders back. First one. Always glitchy, always glitchy. I should be okay now. All right, let's get back into where we were. If you're joining us for the very first time, once again, big apologies. It's our first one in for our new version. We're doing fantastic on our side here. And obviously, you guys know we'll be back again at 12 for midday update. But let's finish off here with the Euro USD this morning. Just to get into where we left off, we saw that price created a low, and we want to try and get those labels in there, low, and then we have a lower low over here. So what we're expecting then is for price to possibly push up before we go down. All right, up before we go down, and that will be an intraday move. All right, guys, that will just be an intraday move that could possibly happen this week, and then maybe later on we then push down. All right. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Let's then start off with moving from the inside out, and I'll start off with the 15-minute frame here. I'll start off with the 15-minute frame so you guys can see where I'm at. This low and that high is pretty important because we have price moving sideways after it leaves that low and touches that high. We have price moving sideways. Now this becomes such a small or a short structure within the bigger one that we saw on the daily. All right. And so it's very important for us to understand that because we're going to be moving up, we're going to be moving up in our time frames now. All right, we're going to be moving up in our time frames now. So we have the 15-minute on, and we have our structure there, and we want to try and go to a 1 hour or a 2 hour now. So that we can understand what the structure looks like over there. All right. Let's go. 1 hour, and we have a much bigger structure that we're looking at. So that's very small. Many guys scalp this. All right. That's why I said to you, it's important to understand. Many guys will scalp this just from there to there. That's about 40 pips. All right. From there to there's about 40 pips. Many guys, they scalp that. Now, for us, we're looking at 3 different periods here: a short-term structure, a medium-term structure, and a long-term structure. Yeah, we're back, Barticle. Brett. So let's look at this now. So there's the 1 hour. Let's go into the 2. Now, what I'm looking for is a straight driving momentum to the downside. I'm looking for straight movement from that high to that low. I don't want any breaks in between. I want a straight line, okay? It's forcing me to go up, and I'm finding this actually on the 3 hour, all right? And I'm going to be highlighting that from that high to this low. And now what I've done is intraday, I have located, all right? And if I go back to the daily now, you'll see that this structure is what we are faced with this morning. We are faced with a hourly structure there, and we're faced with a minute structure. This is a critical thing to follow. And this is what we'll be doing, following these structures now 4 times a day, Mondays to Fridays. All right, Mondays to Fridays. So look at that. We have the hourly structure here. We have the minute structure here. Now what happens is price, if I zoom out, you can see this is the 15-minute structure. Price, if it breaks out today, let's say it breaks upward, not only will we be looking at a bullish bias intraday, because that's the channel it's actually creating. That's the channel that's actually being created here. All right. Now, let's go back one step. Low, lower, low. So what we're trading is we're only trading this part of this entire area here. All right. I hope that makes sense to the guys. You can always put something in the chat facility there to let us know. All right. We are trading this small area within this massive section over here. That's why we're not trading the daily or the weekly here. We're looking at the up from the 3 hour down here, because that's where we found our structure. Now, the dollar, like we said, eased a little bit. So there is a high probability that we could be edging up once more here if we do obviously break above that white area, all right, that white block, as well as the channel, the uptrend over there, or at least the resistance there. Higher probability we're pushing to the upside. But first, we have to clear this area here. So we'll be analyzing this white block, and I'll obviously be back later today to actually look at that white block. So if I do it like this, look, from that high to that low, all right? So we'll be waiting now for price to push. Let me just make this nice and give me a second here, guys. So we'll be seeing if price pushes up like this, because if it pushes above that area over there, then we'll be looking for some movements to the upside over there. All right, and that would be in that zone. So this I want to leave just like this. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it just like that's about 27 to 28 pips from there to there. Now, obviously, there's an opposing force here, because price can continue to come down till the area there. So we'll be watching price today between where it is now and these two areas over there. Now, this is the type of information that we're going to be sharing, not only on the Euro USD. I just wanted to start off this week at least with something, all right? And so that you guys can start to understand this is where we are going, all right? Brett, it will be with us. We will give you an update the moment everything is 100%. We are pushing with our trading rooms for this week. We're obviously installing every phase separately at this point in time, because they all have their own dynamics that goes with each. All right, so this is the one that we have opted to start off because it's easy to run at this point in time. All right, but thanks for the question there. It is valid and it is definitely well received. All right, so guys, I'm going to be looking at the Euro USD here today. And as I mentioned to you guys, we're walking through all our setups, and we are looking at, how to show the guys how we actually take decisions. So this is part of, the first one for today. I'll be checking in later on how this is doing, because there might be a fantastic trade here with the Euro USD. Now, just so you do know, guys, this is one asset, at least for this morning. We will be adding. So you'll find in every single week, we're going to have more than 5 assets that we are looking at, all right, for the week. And so that will give you an indication. Look, you don't want to be trading 50 to 60 assets at a time. The whole point of this is to show people how to diversify their portfolio, yes, but one should be very, very clear that risk management is critical when it comes to trading. So we're starting off with Euro USD. I'll be indulging in some of the other major pairs later. I'll also be looking at some of the indices as well. It looks like there's a bit of, opportunity there. I do know with gold, there seems to be something that's also brewing there. So let me quickly go to that gold chart. What I do know about it is that it's obviously been hovering, near record highs. Lower yield expectations remove the opportunity cost of holding those non-yield, holding non-yielding gold. Remember, gold doesn't pay any interest. So, what traders will do is, what investors will do is they'll go to, the dollar and the treasury yield to buy bonds, because that's where they can get an interest at a specific rate. And when the dollar is weaker, obviously the guys are running to the gold again, because gold is obviously an appreciating asset. So we're going to do the same here. We want to try and see what is happening. So we'll tackle the gold and the Euro USD here. I'm going to start once again with my 15-minute time frame. All right. I'm going to be starting with my 15-minute again. And what's very, very important is for us to look at those structures there from the inside out, all right? Let's move up to the 20 minutes. Let's move up. There we go. That's what I wanted to see right there. So this is our first minute structure over here. And I'll be pushing on to our hourlies here. I would like to see, some momentum, from that high to this low over here. The reason for that is, once again, is because I would like to, look at the different structures in the different time frames and isolate them so that you know exactly what momentum you are actually trading, instead of, looking at the entire chart. You can isolate what you'll be trading according to your schedule. So as an example, from a gold area, that is the highest it's gone. So we are actually in a correction here. It came from that low, went up, we are correcting, and we've gone all the way down, actually to 100% retracement. And obviously this is due to different fundamental reasons, which we will obviously get into, guys, as we do go along. I think we just wanted to start off our first day and just make sure that we have a running system, and then we push from there. So this gold chart over here, we've hit the low, and it seems like this structure could be pushing to the upside a little bit later on. But let's watch it, because I'll be checking out this momentum over here in the white block. That's the minute frames. Like I say again, guys, obviously trade these specific structures here intraday, and then there's a few other traders that might want to push a little bit higher. Now, please note, I've not gone above the hourlies into the dailies and the weeklies. That's not what we're here for here today. We want to try and find opportunities that is within the reach of traders. Yes, we will move into the dailies, the weeklies, and the monthlies at some point, maybe when we're looking at stocks, because that generally does move, take a little bit longer for price to move to, certain areas. But from an intraday perspective, if you're looking at the FX, you're looking at the commodities, you are looking at the indices, we're going to be looking at more intraday structures to try and get the guys going. All right. And that's very important, guys. What we must note about, traders, you get different types of traders. We are not programmed at the TD Markets Academy where we give a one glove fits all. At the end of the day, there are different schedules. All right. People trade with different schedules. There are, people that trade shorter time frames. They use a 4-hour time frame to find their direction. And then they are looking for structure within the 20-minute, 15-minute, and then they will actually enter on the 5 or the 3-minute. It's going to differ from person to person. And I think what we have done at the Academy for the past 3 years, we have really differentiated ourselves in a way where we are able to speak to any client from any background with any amount of money. And we are able to teach them accordingly. All right. It's not the Instagram or the Facebook way where it's just get on there, look at the video, and then you try and trade that specific strategy. At the end of the day, a strategy is really personal. It's subjective. And although you look at similar things, you won't always use the tool exactly the same. So we definitely want to, make sure that the guys understand that. All right. So from a gold perspective and a Euro USD perspective, they are looking pretty similar here. There is some momentum to the upside. We are experiencing an opposite movement here, from that impulse to the upside. Remember, this was a high. That is a higher high. And this is now the correction of that. So I can just illustrate it once again, that this is a high in this movement to the upside. We're looking at the hour frame here, high, higher high, and we are now seeing the correction happen. So it's either we are pushing further down, or we'll see later today price, all right, break above this area for some further upside over there. I think that's going to be the important one. The same with the gold price over here. If you look at it from an hourly perspective here, guys, we have from that low to that high, beautiful movement to the upside. We are now experiencing a correction. It may not look like that because there's a lot of divergence here at the top. If you do put an RSI on here, you can easily see that divergence. All right. you can easily see it's actually taking place here now. All right, from there to there. Let me actually just show you. So there we have a push to the upside over there. So there's a lot of exhaustion at that high. There's a lot of exhaustion at that high, and you can see it here too. So there's a very high chance that we could first push down a little bit here later on today. You can always catch us at the 12 o'clock midday room. And then obviously at 3 o'clock, we'll be checking out how they fared, because the great thing about what we are doing now is that we are trading within the London, the Tokyo, and the US session as well. We are currently in the London session, and you can see that the dollar at this point in time, just from an hourly perspective, yes, we've pushed down a little bit here, but there's not really much. This is just a, one low that has been created. We're going to have to wait for another low over here that gives us a higher probable move that we are pushing to the downside. All right. But we're going to have to take a look and see. I also wanted to just mention here the US futures here, guys. I think that's important. We're seeing a lot of rotation taking place now. Let's maybe go to the NAS 100, and I'll start it off fresh here so you guys can see. All right, I'll start it off fresh. And here we have a 12-hour frame, daily frame, as well as a weekly frame. We're just looking at those three. And you can see that we've obviously reached those all-time highs there. This structural rotation is underway at this point in time. All right, capital is moving out of expensive tech and AI. There's a lot of Chinese competition. It's steep. All right, and we're seeing that a lot of it is flowing into a lot of the healthcare stocks there. We're seeing the industry sector from the financials premise, and obviously we're seeing the industrials as well. And this rotation kept Japan's Nikkei flat, actually, despite a weaker currency. And so we are at that high. Now that high is important, all right, because we want to try and see if there is some movement to the downside. We're correlating now. If the US futures pushes to the downside, generally you're going to find that the dollar strengthens, all right, because of that. So we'll be watching these three side by side today. The NAS 100, we're looking at the Euro USD. You can also do the S&P. You can do the US 30. I'm just choosing some of the major stock indices here, all right? So the gold price, again, it looks like we're having a bit of a stronger dollar here this morning. The Euro USD, if I go into the 1 hour frame, you can see it happening there as well. And then on the NAS 100, all right, if the dollar strengthens, then we could see this one push a little bit down. Now, there is divergence here. But I would like to possibly just maybe start this one off by putting on that zigzag, so that we can just see where the price is at in terms of the lows. All right, so there's the 15-minute. And let me just shape this one real quickly right there. That's the structure on the 15-minute that we're looking at. Many guys love scalping the NAS, all right? So that's the minute structure right now, the current minute structure, current. All right, current. And then let's now go to the hourlies. Oh, beautiful. Look at this. So you see this area here, this low and that high. Price is in between structurally. It's created a lot of momentum to the downside. Look at that low, and there's some lower lows. Excuse me. I'll say it again. From there, that's the resistance. We had a low there. All right. This is a proper low. And then we had a bunch over here, which is telling us there's a lot of bears or sellers in here. Here we have a lower high here, and prices continue to push to the downside on this edge here. So if you look at it from an impulse perspective, this was a correction. All right. So low correction. I'll show you again. Low correction. Bunch of lows, correction. And we are still inside of this correction here. I'll say that one more time. This low produced that high. All right. From that high, we push down structurally. All right. There's a lot of divergence here, guys. I can guarantee you there's divergence here. If you put an RSI or MACD, you'll see there's a lot of divergence here. All right. From these lows, price pushes up structurally again, creating a lower high, which is just below that one there. From there, we go down, but we have not broken this previous lower low here yet. That is the challenge. That's the challenge. All right. So we've not broken this low here yet. What we need to do now is we need to then see, is there space for this one to come down? If the dollar strengthens, we could see this low being broken today. So I'm going to place a structure now between that low and that high. I am not, well, I don't want any breaks in the momentum. So I'm going to go up one time frame, and I have it there now. Look at that. From there to there. And we're only attacking the structure now, okay? We're only attacking the structure. What created this massive move to the upside was the investment into AI. All right, that's what created that. But obviously, companies are reassessing, whether it is profitable or if it is something to do right now in the long run. So they're looking at the results of it. All right. So now you can clearly see I've isolated this current structure from this one here. So if we break below this area, high probability we come back down here. Now, guys, we are making this relatable to you. All right. This can happen in 2 days. It can happen in 2 days. Day 1, we could be pushing down here. Day 2, we could be pushing down there. It's weekly trading. It's not monthly trading. So we don't look at those higher time frames only. All right. We don't only look at those higher time frames. All right. All right. We really, really look at the time frames that is applicable to intraday or day trading. That's very important. All right. I just want to make sure, guys, is the sound good? It's our first session in. So big apologies there for, any glitches that we had earlier on. Generally, many times it will happen, but we really, really apologize for that. We are back and we're moving. So just let me know in the chat facility if it is working nicely there, if you guys can hear me very, very well. All right. And if you can't, please put that through as well. All right. So let's see what happens in these 3 today, guys. The dollar strengthens. We are looking at a higher probability of price pushing further down here. All right. And obviously the other side, if the dollar weakens, we could see price, retreating back to that high over there. Now, the great thing about this is we can isolate this gray and this white block, because I can always go into a 15-minute frame, and all that we can look for today is just trading this area here. So if you were to do this, all right, you will clearly see that this channel over here could be traded. So here is a support area over there. We're only trading this white block here. We're only trading the white block. Granted that we're seeing a stronger dollar, all right, we could be coming down here only till this area. We're not even looking at the gray zone. We're not there at all. We're looking at possible intraday movement from, let me just get my arrow here, from there to there. That's it. So let's see what happens. And now I've highlighted both on the Euro USD and the NASDAQ. Hold on. I've highlighted both on the Euro USD and the NAS as to one specific area, this white zone. So let's go to the Euro USD. The same here. Look at that. So again, I'm going to remind everybody, us pushing on, us doing what we're doing is walking our students through daily movement. Daily movement. All right. So 1.14, let's see if it reaches, or 1.13, that's Euro USD, NAS 100. The points there, we're looking at about 30,098. Hold on. 30,103, sorry, and 29,102. So let's see what happens today with these two guys. This would be phenomenal movement for any trader. We're only dealing with this white block here, and we're only dealing with this white block over here. All right. But guys, let's call it for this morning, at least an update in terms of how we are moving from here on out. We'll be back midday with an update. And then we'll be back at 3 o'clock, and we'll be back at 6 o'clock again. All right. Obviously, everything will improve as we do go along, guys. But thanks once again for all the positivity, all the optimism. And we also thank the critique because both of those lets us know how we are tracking. All right. Have a fantastic, morning further as we go into, 11 o'clock and so, and we'll be back midday to see what price has done. All right. Hit that subscribe button, as we would say, and have those notifications on. And so obviously we will be moving further. Have a good one now, guys. Ashley Revere, and I'm checking out. Ciao, ciao.